Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey toward publication. I am Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction.
I'm Christina Catane, and I write many genres, including Christian dystopian fiction.
And I'm Jamie Hirschberger, and I write in several genres under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
And welcome to episode 14, our first live broadcast.
Wow. Yay!
And it's a special live broadcast because it is also our first NaNoWriMo kickoff party.
All right. Woo, woo, woo.
I also want to say that I am highly caffeinated right now. Oh, did you see this?
Oh, where did you ever get such a unique and interesting mug?
Yes, very unique.
Oh, I am not the only one with these. This one here was a present from Rhonda. Thank you, Rhonda, so much. And we also, for some of our listeners tonight, we have giveaways. So we would love to give some of these away to you guys. I need to pull up the broadcast over here. You guys just talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. Well, we're also, because this is our NaNoWriMo kickoff party, we're going to be talking about getting ready for NaNoWriMo, which starts at midnight. November 1st through November 30th is National Novel Writing Month. The challenge is to write 50,000 words in 30 days. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we all prepare for NaNoWriMo and what we do to keep things going and to make things interesting. So who wants to talk about how they planned? Rhonda, did you do an outline? How did you plan for NaNoWriMo?
I did. All right. So I love Blake Snyder's Save the Cat beat sheet. It's just works with my brain really well. So first of all, I decided what I was going to write, the genre. And so I did. And then I decided what characters I wanted to use, because I need to start with a character and then decide what happens to them in their life. So I just went through and did all the beat sheets. And then I'm going to do a novella for this, because I would like to have basically a completed book by the time I'm done. And so I took the 15 beats and then in my Scrivener, and then I added 3 scenes underneath each one of those and added like 3 lines about what's going to happen in each of those scenes. And that's where it is. And it's waiting for me.
I know you've been so excited to start writing on that. No wonder you've got it kind of all mapped out. I know also, because I can see it behind Miss Jennifer Carl Tong, she also was quite an outliner for NaNoWriMo.
It really was. So this is what we like to call the isolation booth, lovingly called that. It's just one of those trifold science fair projects, but I put my X on there and the different chapters, and then I plot out the entire thing. Lovingly called that. It's just one of those. Someone's computer is talking. Okay. So not only did I do that though, because I've been so excited, and I had this done last weekend. Tina and I went to a NaNoWriMo event with our local chapter, and it was a prepping event, and I had it all done then. And then when I say last weekend, I mean like the weekend before this last one. And so I've been trying not to write. So what I did was I took all of this and I transplanted it into Scrivener as well. So I have every single one of these chapters has notes in it on Scrivener and all ready to go. And I'm just super overly planned. I've never been this prepared for Nano before, except for Camp Nano last year, one of the camps. And that's when I finished my novella. So I'm really hoping I get really far with this novel.
Jen, did you work so hard on your outline that you actually injured your thumb?
Oh, okay. So I cut my thumb here because I was klutzy with the knife. And then I put the Band-Aid on. And then a little bit later, getting my child ready for trick-or-treating, I poked myself with a safety pin so hard that it was bleeding too. So it looks like a major thing, but it's only because I couldn't get one Band-Aid to do the whole trick. So I'm a klutz.
Well, Tina, what about you? Did you do prepping? Are you pantsing this time? Oh, that's right. You are right. You were prescribed a story to write this year.
Yes, we had our live streams where you guys decided my plot and my characters, and then I did one where, and on all these live streams, our audience got to weigh in on what they thought we should do. And so I did the world building, and now I am using the foolproof outline template that I downloaded for Scrivener to outline the novel, which is pretty much done, and I'm ready to start writing.
Now that's a book that if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can either buy the book, or if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can actually read it for free as part of your Kindle Unlimited.
So, yeah.
And then you've said that there's also an outline that they offer for free. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
there's
links in the book for either Scrivener or Excel, whichever one you want to use.
That's pretty awesome. It's the same author that did the Foolproof Dictation, which is another great book. So can't remember off the top of my head, but
Christopher something.
Yeah, if you could put that in the a link to that maybe into the live chat in case anybody's interested, that would be cool.
Yeah, I could do that.
Well, I'm starting to feel woefully underprepared after talking to all of you ladies, because while I'm not plotting out 100%, nor am I really pantsing this. If people don't know what I'm talking about, pantsing is when you fly by the seat of your pants and just write whatever at the stroke of midnight all the way through November. You just write whatever comes to mind. Well, that's not really what I'm doing. And I have actually sat down and kind of wrote down, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. But it's not like I've gone back and looked at that document today or anything that would be remotely helpful to me. So I'm not really sure why that is. It's not like I haven't been obsessing about the fact that I'm writing at midnight. I've just been, I remember. I did open Scrivener at one point, and then it's like, oh, you need to update your Scrivener. And so I left it alone to update. And so I don't really have it in there as any kind of an outline or anything. So we'll see how I do when the clock strikes 12.
But I think that's awesome, because we're going to have people that are watching this, some of them that are like as nerdy as I am, and we'll have like something like this behind me. And then we'll have people that either are pantsers by nature or just discovered NaNoWriMo. 2 years ago, the first Nano I did, I never heard of NaNoWriMo until it was something like October 17th or October 20th. And I thought, oh, I'm going to do this. So, yeah. And then last Sunday, when I was at the Nano Kickoff party for our local Nano group, there were 2 people there that had just found out about Nano and showed up at the party. Like, they had never heard anything about it. So they only had like 3 days to prep, which I thought was pretty awesome. So we'll see how they do this year too.
Well, and I would just say, if you're someone who is that person who's listening to us talk about how much we've outlined and prepared and all of this, it's totally not necessary to do that to win NaNoWriMo. And in fact, sometimes you can really mess yourself up because you listen to people like us and you start to think, oh no, I'm lacking story structure, or I'm lacking pinch points, or kind of whatever. And it can really freeze you and bind up your creative process. So please don't allow that to happen. Just put your fingers on the keyboard and get that first draft down, because you can't edit something you haven't written yet.
Right. Agreed.
Okay, so should we take a minute to just give everybody our favorite tip for NaNoWriMo and then get into the next thing on the agenda? What do you think?
Sounds great.
All right, Tina, what's your number 1 tip for people who are doing NaNoWriMo?
Butt in the seat.
Mm.
Just sit down and start going, because if you think about it too much, you can procrastinate. That's my trick. I procrastinate, and I think about it, and I think about it, and then I don't get my butt in the seat. So even if you have to start out with, some strange little paragraph or something just to get the juices going or whatever, just write. Just do it.
That's really good advice. What's your one piece of advice, Rhonda?
Well, first of all, let me tell Tina, yes, I'm completely with you, because I will plan and plan and plan to procrastinate. I mean, specifically so I can procrastinate. But mine is turn off your self-editor, because everybody gets so many millions of words when we sprint, and I get like 250 because I well, I do handwrite, so that slows me down a little bit. But even when I don't, I rewrite, I edit, I repunctuate, I just second guess myself so bad. And so this year I'm really going to work on turning off my editor.
That's a really good thing to practice, because again, you can't edit something you haven't written. What's your number one piece of advice, Jen?
Before I give my piece of advice, I can see that we do have some people that are watching us, so we can't see who they are. So what I want to say is, if you want to win one of these mugs, comment in the in our comments. And what I want to ask you is, what is your piece of advice? If you have ever done Nano, do you have a piece of advice? If not, tell us what you're most scared about with Nano. So do that. The first person to comment will win a mug. Let's go with that.
Awesome.
So my advice, I would say, would have to be Pomodoro method. And what that is it's a way of timing yourself when you write. So you set a timer for 25 minutes and you write nothing else. You do nothing else but write. Like, you don't get up and go to the bathroom. You don't answer your phone. You don't check your email. You completely focus and you write for 25 minutes. Even if like you think it's garbage, you just keep going. And then you take a 5-minute break. And then on for 25 minutes and off for 5. You do that for 3 sessions. And then after the third one, you take a longer break. And you will be amazed at how much writing, and it's usually good. It's usually good stuff because your brain just kicks in. You'll be amazed at how much writing you get done. Generally speaking, in those 3 sessions, in an hour and a half, I can get my whole Nano day done. So that's my piece of advice.
That's really good. My one piece of Nano advice is, if you get behind, don't stop. And don't think that the next time you sit down at your computer, you have to get caught up from all of the days you missed. Just sit down and do the words for that day. And then the next day, do the words for that day. The point is to develop a habit of writing and creating. And then if you are encouraged by your progress, go ahead and try to do a day where you get caught up. But don't let the thinking of I'm so far behind keep you from even taking one small bite of that elephant, right?
Exactly. That's really good advice, because I found, like, if I try to put more on my plate than the daily amount you're kind of supposed to do, then I think it adds more stress to me. But then there'll be days, there'll be days that I get really into the writing and I end up writing more than I'm supposed to. So forget about the days you miss. Just do what you're supposed to do, the 1,667. Do that. And there'll be some other days where you get more in. So just don't give up.
All right. That's great.
Awesome.
So did we get a winner by chance?
No, nobody's commenting.
Okay, tell them again what they have to write.
Actually, the first person to comment anything, appropriate. Anything appropriate.
Oh, that's great.
Tell us if you have a tip for Nano and how to do Nano.
All right.
Well, I know we're here to talk Nano, but this is also an episode of the Christian Indie Writers podcast, where we also have always a part of our episode where we share a quick write. And I thought if we did that sooner than later, then we'd have more time to chat at the end. What do you guys ladies think? Think it's time?
Yeah, let's jump into that. Sure.
Okay. So every episode, we do a quick write before we start recording. And then we share that quick write for critique, but it's a different kind of critique. And this time, since it's unedited and it's raw, we only support each other and encourage each other. We're not looking for feedback as far as, oh, you used that word wrong, or I think your character should do this. We're only looking to encourage each other and point out the good parts of what we wrote, because it's raw and it's unedited. This week, we got a prompt from NaNoWriMo. Rhonda, do you want to share that with us?
Yeah. Okay. It's going to take me a second to get it up. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just kind of threw that at you.
That's okay. Yeah. Let's decide who's going to go in what order. Do you,
Jamie, I think you volunteered. Didn't you? The other day?
Yes. Jamie did volunteer.
Okay, then I get to pick who's next. I picked Tina to go second. Tina, who do you pick to go third?
Rhonda.
All right. Then Jen will bring up the rear.
Okay. All right. I have it. All right, put your main character on the therapist's couch. By the way, I got this from the Nano site. They've got several prompts to just, if you're having a slow day, to get you going. All right, put your main character on the therapist's couch. What's bugging him? What deep-seated issue hasn't he dealt with? What does he talk about with his counselor that had never revealed to another character? What would happen if another character discovered this deep, dark secret? Write a scene about that very discovery. Does your character try to deny it, freak out, break down in tears, shrug it off, kill or blackmail the person who made the discovery so no one else finds out?
Wow.
Are the other characters supportive, afraid, or judgmental? Who leaves and who sticks around? All right.
Okay, so since I'm first, can I just reiterate we had 15 minutes, so we didn't really get to explore all of that, right?
We love to reiterate that.
And also, this was really strange for me to put my character into this situation, to pull her out of like that story. Anyway, whatever. So I'm just going to stop making apologize. I'm going to read. Okay, here we go. Brianna stared out at the hummingbirds that hovered around the feeders encircling the front porch. Her heart thrummed in her chest as rapidly as the wings of the little ruby-throated creatures. She opened her mouth to speak, but only managed a dry clicking sound as her throat worked in vain to form the words. She was found out. But was it so bad? Wouldn't it be nice to have someone else to help shoulder the burden of worry she'd been carrying these past few weeks? But why did it have to be her, she wondered, sending the thought up as a half prayer, a sort of protest against the way the good Lord had decided to orchestrate her circumstances. She heard the centerboard creak and knew Melissa had come into the room. Brianna turned to face her, studying the face of the one person on earth with whom she now shared her secret. She wondered if they could ever become friends. "How long have you known?" Brianna finally managed to say. "Since we got here, I reckon. I heard you in the bushes." "Morning sickness," Brianna said, and huffed out a dusty laugh. "If ever there was a misnamed condition, I'd say it was morning sickness. Seems I was sick all day there in the beginning. I'm glad it's eased up. I was sick a lot with my first. It was back in the beginning of the trouble. Charlie thought I was dying. I had no idea. I was only worried I would lose the baby." She looked down at her hands. Brianna knew she was thinking of her dead husband as her voice trembled when she'd said his name. Brianna wondered about those thoughts. Was Melissa racked with overwhelming sentiments of love or admiration? Did she remember a particular event when she thought about her man? Was there a date in a candlelit restaurant, perhaps, that she always returned to when the memories of her husband consumed her in these moments? "Tell me about Charlie," Brianna said before she could stop herself. "What was he like?" Melissa looked up, swiping at her eyes with the sleeve of her sweater. "He was a kind man," Melissa said. "Too kind, probably. I ran all over him." She put her hand to her forehead. "I have so many regrets," she said. Her voice faltered at the last word. Her body convulsed, and her other hand came up to join the first. Melissa heaved heavy, racking sobs into both hands as Brianna stood staring at her, wondering if she would ever cry over the loss of her own dead husband.
Wow. That was really good, Jamie.
That was good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You guys are...
well, I know a little bit about your story. I know like kind of like the premise of it. And so as I'm listening, I am like really getting drawn in because I kind of know the premise, and yet I'm wondering more about these characters. Like, who are these two women and why are they together? Obviously one's pregnant. And what happened to the husband? Why is he dead? And well done.
Well, thank you.
He
So
can't be
is
dead that long because she's still pregnant, and she is sounds like she hasn't cried yet or
Boy, you're making an awful lot of assumptions about this pregnancy, Tina.
Okay.
So it is a deep, dark secret after all.
Jamie, is this scene going to appear in your novel?
Well, that would be cheating, wouldn't it? Which is another reason I had a problem with this exercise. Like, oh man, you know, this Melissa person did not exist until this exercise. So I don't know if it will make an appearance in there or not.
How many words was that, Jamie?
Hold on. I erased some. Oh, that's not it. That's something about drones. Excuse me while I look at the right. It was word count 437.
Okay. So as long as nano project is 50,437, right. It's not cheating. As long as you write 50,000 words in NaNoWriMo. Because I do have about 2,500 words in my novel already.
Oh, I see. So you're making it okay for me to cheat so that it will be okay for you to cheat.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Totally. Okay, so thank you guys for the nice, kind words. It's Bambina's turn.
Oh, boy. By the way, nobody's commented yet, so first person to comment gets a mug. So we'll, I'm on pins and needles. I don't know what to do. Okay.
It is kind of late, so.
Okay. Here we go. Rory watched the pendant swaying in front of her and listened to the calming voice of Dr. Johnson. I'm going to count to 10, he said, and when I get to 10, you will be back in your last memory of your father. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Waves were crashing on the white sand beach, foaming when they hit the sand and leaving little bubbles behind as the water was sucked back into the tide. Rory's dad took the little umbrella from her mom's empty glass and poked it into the top of their sandcastle. Finished, he announced, standing back to look at it. It's perfect, Daddy, said Rory, twirling around the sand with joy. Yes, it's perfect, he agreed. The perfect castle for the perfect princess. And you're the perfect prince, right, Daddy? Well, if you're the princess, that would make me the king, he replied. Rory fell to her knees in the sand, winded and dizzy from all her spinning. And Mommy is the evil queen, said Rory, between exaggerated gasps for breath. Daddy started to laugh, but then his eyes rose up and looked behind Rory. His face fell, and his eyes filled with alarm. Rory turned. Her mom was standing behind her, another drink with the little umbrella in her hand. She was frowning, her eyes furrowed together as she stared daggers over Rory's head to her dad. Mommy, we're playing pretend, Rory blurted, trying to ease the tension. You're the evil queen, and you have to banish Daddy from the castle and lock the princess in the tower. Yes, agreed her mom. That is what I must do. A strange smile came across her mom's face, and she stirred her drink slowly with the umbrella, never taking her eyes from her dad. Then one day, a handsome prince will come and rescue me. Rory looked up at the tiled drop ceiling above her, trying to place where she was. The leather of the couch she was lying on was cool against her arms. And then it said 3, 2, 1, and I was out of time.
Wow, good work.
Yes.
Oh, that was so good.
Like, that's her last memory is what she was commanded to remember, her last memory of her dad?
Yeah.
That's really disturbing. Does she think that her mother killed her dad?
I can't tell you that.
Wow.
Is that going to go in your book or is that backstory?
That is character building backstory, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it will be alluded to in the book or not. I haven't gotten there.
Well, it was a very good job. I love the dizzy spinning little girl. Mm-hmm. And I like that the little girl felt like it was her job to dissolve tension.
Yeah. Could be a short story on its own.
Yeah, it really could. Yeah. Great character building.
All right, Tina. So you picked John Rhonda to go next.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't wait, by the way, I can't wait till someday we're at like conference or somewhere and somebody comes up and says, hi, John Rhonda.
Did I call you John Rhonda?
You did. You called her John Rhonda.
Okay. Does everybody, okay, look, her Facebook is an account also like her husband, right? So it's John Rhonda, like for both of them. So I just think of her as John Rhonda because every time I see her on Facebook, I read John Rhonda and then there's her little picture and her comment and everything. So, oops. Plus I give everybody a nickname. It seems like I'm weird like that.
Okay.
All right, we're ready. John Rhonda.
Okay. Will you tell me what the real issue is? I can see you're upset. Dr. Jones, I messed up, said, you're safe in here, no judgment. I should know that by now, Doc. You're right. Biff fiddled with the cuff on his jeans. It's just so embarrassing I could die. I've heard nothing from you during our sessions that could be life-threatening, he gently prodded. Max found out, he heard me mention something about Biff stammered and his face was flushed. Dr. Jones nodded his encouragement. Biff sat straight up and began rubbing his knees. His upper lip glistened with a fine sheen of sweat. Doc, how did he find out my secret? I know. I sure never told anyone but you that. How? He almost yelled the last word. He gave his knees a rest and started flexing his elbow and clenching his fist. Well, Biff, I'm sure you have the answer for that. Let's find out. Dr. Jones looked down at his notepad and scribbled paranoid. When did he confront you with the information? Was he trying to tease you with it or embarrass you? I don't know, and that's not what I care about right now. I trusted you with a secret I never told anyone, and now he's going to tell everyone. My life is over. He slumped back on the couch and covered his eyes with his arm. Biff, I doubt your life will be over if he spreads it all over town. If he does, I said. We've already spent time on your narcissistic tendencies. Have you been practicing the exercises I gave you? They're supposed to help in these situations. Dr. Jones flipped back a few pages in his yellow pad and expertly masked a sigh. It's very unlikely he will spread your secret all over town. Biff rubbed his eyes. I have a reputation, Doc. If the ladies find out, I still wet the bed. The end. Time was out.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ah, I love that secret.
I suppose it could just end there. If the ladies find out I still wet the bed, ... The end.
Yeah, that's a great ending.
Did you? All right. So was the timer going off and you wrote that last sentence at the very so that we get the information?
Yeah, I was like,
oh, but it was perfect. It was like perfect timing. That was awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow. I couldn't guess what it was.
good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now wait a minute. You have not disclosed anything about your NaNoWriMo book.
I know.
And I know that is on purpose. So who is Biff? Can we at least know, is he a main character?
Well, I'll just tell you right now. All right, I've decided for whatever muse has encouraged me to write a romance.
Oh,
Nice.
Yay.
So it's something I never thought I would ever write, but I thought I just want to do a novella, like I've already said, and I'm going to. This is going to be backstory for the world that Mom and I are writing in the actual novel. So, Biff. Okay, so the heroine of the book, her name is Hazel, and she plays a very small role. But this novella is going to help build the world, like the backstory of the world. And so Biff is Hazel's ex-boyfriend, and he's a jerk, and I don't like him. So that's why I made him wet the bed. And no,
you are the true stereotypical author. If you don't like someone, boy, oh boy, they better watch out. They're going to end up hurting your novel somewhere.
Did you base Biff on anybody real in your life?
No, actually, I didn't. I probably could assign that to somebody. Yeah, actually, I did think of somebody just now. Maybe
Subconsciously,
whoa.
You know, it's one of those things that, like, I have characters that I really hate, but like when I'm sharing with you guys, I have to act like I don't hate them because I don't want to give things away in the story. So I'm always like, but but inside I'm like, in them. That's awesome.
All right. Good job, Rhonda.
Oh, I have one more thing to say. When I was outlining and using the Save the Cat beat sheet, I also used Jennifer Tong's outline.
Oh,
yes.
the romance plot sheet that's
the plot
available.
sheet, yep.
So if you go to christianindiewriters.net and sign up for our newsletter, that's one of the many free things that you will get from us. That's
Awesome.
I'm glad it was helpful.
Yes, it was.
Yay.
All right, Jen, what did you do?
All right. So mine, I'm used to like writing, like normally we write funny things or there'll be like some sort of like shocking thing. Like I like to do that. This is not that. But I like it because it gives me some background into my character. I am writing a historical romance. Shocker. And the main character is a nerdy professor, which I love. And his student throws herself at him so she can get kicked out of school is basically what happens. But that's the beginning of all the hijinks. So we are with Grant, the professor, at the psychiatrist's office. I'm not really certain why I'm even here. Grant stretched his long legs in front of him, crossing them at the ankle. As I've said before, I was not having a relationship with a girl. I have no deep-seated desire to date my students. I don't know what the university expects to get out of me by forcing me to attend these sessions. The elderly man behind the desk placed his fingers across his robust belly and sat back in his chair. So you feel as if you did nothing to lead the girl on? Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. She just threw herself at you, all on her own accord. Exactly. My, the man's eyebrows shot up. You must have quite the charming presentation in class to warrant such a response from such a pretty young thing. Grant suppressed a sigh. Is she pretty? I hadn't noticed. Liar, the man said under his breath. Excuse me? Nothing. So if that is the case, I suppose we don't need to discuss her anymore. Relieved, Grant stood. Have a good day. I didn't say the session was over. I only stated that we obviously need to turn the conversation in another direction. Unable to suppress this sigh, Grant sat back down. What else could we possibly discuss? You're pretty young to have accomplished so much. He picked up the chart and flipped through the papers. Senior professor at only 26. Very ambitious. I've worked very hard. Your parents must be very proud. Grant winced. My father is deceased. And your mother? Not deceased. I see. Your mother is alive, but she isn't proud of you. I didn't say that. Don't put words into my mouth. I apologize. Please continue. Grant chewed the inside of his cheek. My mother loves me. I should say all mothers do love their offspring. She's just, well, preoccupied with other things. Other things? Other than her son? Well, yes, with other children. You aren't an only child? I assumed you were. Why? Overachievers often are. You are the firstborn then. Secondborn. The man's eyebrows shut up once more. That is surprising. Grant shrugged. I'm just a hard worker. Yes, you've said that. And what of your younger siblings? Are they hard workers? They are spoiled. I see. Well, I imagine losing a father could make one. They didn't lose a father. What? Their father is my mother's second husband. Ah, I see. No, I don't think you do. Then explain. They are the adopted children of my mother and stepfather, but you would think they were the only children she ever had. That must feel very hurtful. I've gotten over it. Have you? 3, 2, 1, stop.
You do that really well.
I've heard it a lot. That's what that timer sounds like, is that dude saying that. So yeah, so I wasn't sure, like I didn't realize he wasn't the firstborn, or I didn't know where he was in that. And I did know that his younger siblings were adopted. But yeah, that kind of took me deeper into who the character was. So I really love this exercise. Will I use this? Probably not. Like I won't use this scene, but I might take some of it and do something else with it. But this was a good exercise. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I did too.
I like learning more about Grant.
Yeah.
You
He's
better
like
be nice.
I think that
He's a cute nerd.
the thing that hung me up was like trying to figure out a deep, dark secret. Like that was very, like, I mean, just to explore the character more, I think might have felt a little, anyway, that's probably, I don't know, whatever, but it just felt a little bit specific, but whatever.
Yeah, I
It
didn't
got
do the
us
deep dark secret, other than the fact that he feels like unloved by his mom, and he's not told anybody that. But yeah.
Mm.
So do you happen to know what psychology or psychiatry was like in World War I? Like, were they doing like Freud stuff, or is it too early to do Freud? Freud was later, wasn't he?
I think that was right about his time.
Yeah, I would have said, yeah, I think Freud was late 1800s, early 1900s. So
the psychiatrist would have been really interested in his feelings about his mother.
His mommy issues. I hadn't thought about that. I feel like when I was reading it and when I was writing it, that it feels a little too modern. And I'm not really sure, but it's a quick write. You know what I mean? It's really just to get the words on paper. So that's the other reason why I probably wouldn't use it. But I also like that he is only 26. I wasn't sure how old I was going to make him because he's a professor, right? But I'm somehow going to work it out that he is a professor pretty young in life. So I think probably because he's trying to. Yes, he's the Doogie Howser of Christian colleges. Yes.
Well, I've got a friend who is a professor, and he's 30 now, but he was a professor at 24.
Yeah, it's totally doable. I know it's totally doable. I just, I've got to like figure that out. I think that the reason why he's so driven is because he was the baby. I'm just waxing right now. He was the baby, and it kind of got replaced. Like he lost his dad, and then there's other things that are going to happen in the story that you're going to learn. And his mom got remarried, moved to a new house, then adopted these kids, and all of a sudden here he is, like, who am I? And so he was trying to like make something of himself that he thought his dad would be proud of, is what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking with this. So, but
wow,
I love
really
that kind
good
of,
use of the exercise.
yeah, and I love that kind of stuff in a story. I like to know like all the motivations and yeah. So yeah, it was fun. I
like it when the characters surprise me.
Yeah.
Seems like it should be creepy, but because I should be controlling them, right?
Right. They have a mind of their own, these crazy characters. They really do. They never want to do what I want them to do.
I was just listening back to a couple weeks ago that we released a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about how it's so strange that you can create these people that seem so real in your mind. And just by writing, these people are alive and real to you. It's very much a really fun, neat thing that God gave us the ability to do. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And I really love that God has given us the ability to not only write these stories and be creative, but to be able to not just tell a story, but to speak to people, you know, to share things that people may not be able to express with words, but they read it in a book and they can identify with that character. And it might be able to help heal something in their life or help them be able to understand something that someone else is going through in a way that just plain life doesn't do. You know what I mean? Like so I appreciate that when I read books, and I appreciate that God is helping me to do that for other people too.
I had a story speak to me recently.
Oh yeah? Would you like to talk about that story?
Maybe. It was called something about Anna.
Oh, you're killing me. All right, everybody. Rhonda read my novella. It's released now. It's on for free right now. It's not on Amazon yet, but if you would like to download the free ebook, you can go to freebook.jennifercarltong.com and download it. And Rhonda read it and said she read it, and she had things to say, but would not say them until she was on the broadcast. So,
well, here we are.
Here we are.
Okay. First of all, may I say chapter 16?
That's the second to last chapter.
Yeah. I don't want to give anything to people who haven't read.
At the apartment? At the apartment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't read it, but I am not a crier. In fact, I don't even know if I have tear ducts, but I was like, my eyes were like, I can't read right now because I can't say it. Anyway, I like the book, and I'll leave a review as soon as I find out where I do that. But I love Warren. He is just, I'm devastated. Speaking of characters who are real, I'm devastated to find out that he's out of my life forever. So could you please do something about that?
Well, he is not out of your life forever, because Warren makes an appearance in not only, well, a fairly large appearance in not only in Avoiding Esther, which is book 2 that is coming out soon. I know I've been saying November, but I'm waiting on the editor. But he also plays a role in the book I'm writing this month in my nano project.
Really? Oh.
Yes. He shows up.
Well, and I think what you could do, Jen, maybe is you could write a series even of little 500-word shenanigans at boarding school, possibly. Maybe even his journey to Christianity through those tales, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if he has, because a lot happened to him while he was away that doesn't get talked about.
Right, so, it's only a novella, so there wasn't space to talk about his conversion from when the story starts off. He's kind of a hijinxer. He kind of gets into some trouble, and then they grow up, and then that's when the story actually begins. But that reminds me, Jamie has read it as well. And Jamie, thank you so much for sharing that on your Facebook page. And I've already gotten a couple of new subscribers just because you did that, and I just really appreciate your opinion. You guys' opinion means so much to me. And the fact that you shared that, I just really, really appreciate that. Thank you. So.
Well, beginning that once you go.
Say that again, Jamie. We lost you for a second.
Once you launch, it's going to be hard to keep up with you because you're just going to take off like a rocket. I just know it.
Thank you.
Possibly.
Thank you. It's all because of you guys. Honestly, that book would not be finished. First of all, it would never have been started if it wasn't for a writing group. Because I know I've said this before, but I'm going to recap really quick for those that are tuning in. When we first started our writing group, Rhonda's daughter suggested, hey, let's all take the same writing prompt and come back next month with a piece with using the same words. And everyone's like, oh, that's such a great idea. And I smiled and said, okay. And inside I'm like, I don't have time for this. I got to write my novel. And so I came back the next month. It was supposed to be, I think it was 1,500 words. We were supposed to have this short story. And I came back with a 6,000 word beginning and said, I'm really sorry, but this is going to be a novella. And I'm so happy because I love the characters. I love how it starts my series off. And it's very exciting. So because of that, going on to camp with you guys, we actually did an actual camp where we went away at Rhonda's cabin up north. And all the feedback you guys got, if it wasn't for all of you and the other ladies from our writing group, I would never have that novella. And I just really appreciate every single one of you.
We love you too.
For sure.
And it looks like Riley wins a mug.
All right,
Riley, yay. All right, Riley. You have to email us your address so we can send it to you. connect at christianindywriters.net.
What did Riley's comment say? I'm not looking at the comment.
She said hi. And then she said, now for sure have to read it.
Oh, so she hasn't read it yet. That's something to do. But don't read it unless you've gotten your words for the day in, because this is Nano.
Yeah.
Make sure you get your words in.
Exactly.
Yes, you don't need to add anything to your procrastination pile.
Did I tell you that I read it in 5 hours, by the way? I was up until about 2:30, I think.
Because you weren't tired or you couldn't put it down?
Because I didn't want to stop reading it. I wanted to know what happened.
Yay, I love that. Thank you.
You know what? It just proves to me once again that the characters are the most important thing in a story to me. Because really, a story can be about anything.
I saw a couple of years ago, I happened across Periscope. I don't even know if Periscope exists anymore, but I happened across a interview with Jeanette Oak, who, for those of you that follow Christian romance, she is like kind of the founder of Christian romance. She's in her 80s now, but she wrote the When Calls the Heart series that now is a TV program on the Hallmark Channel. She wrote Love Comes Softly, that entire series. I mean, she's written like 70 some books. But it was this little old lady, so sweet, and they interviewed her. And the thing that struck me the strongest was she said, characters matter. Those were her words. She said that nobody's going to care about your story if they don't care about your characters. And that's so true. That's why her books, I think, were so popular and still are, is because she was able to craft these characters that you felt like you knew and you wanted to spend more time with them. So you kept buying the next book and the next book and the next book. And that's what I hope. I hope that people will fall in love with my characters and want to spend more time with them. Yeah.
I read the, which one? Love's Long Journey. You know that series? The second
Love Comes Softly.
Not the Canadian one. Love Comes Softly. I read that series when I was a teenager, like a young teenager. And I still feel like, I still think back on those characters like, oh, I wonder what they're doing now. They're characters in a book. They're, their story's done. But Missy, I think she's the main character in the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like she was my friend and I kind of miss her.
Yeah.
I just read a series. It starts out with the Wretched of Muirwood is, I think, the first book, and the characters in there were awesome. And then, so I went to the author's website, and then he has some writing advice in there, and he has like a whole blog about how to write great characters and how characters matter. So,
that's awesome.
I'm really sad that the 3 books are done, and I don't get to read about those characters anymore.
Can you recall 1 or 2 of the tips that he gave?
He said, show your characters interacting with each other. That's the best way to show who they are. That's the one that sticks out to me the most.
I would say along with that, show their flaws. I think nothing shows who a character really is better than their flaws, and we all have them. So there's nothing more annoying to me than to read a novel where the person is just perfect. Nobody's perfect. So I want them to have flaws to where I'm still rooting for them. You know, like Warren had flaws.
No.
He was, yes, I'm sorry, but he has flaws. But you love him for it. Even though he has flaws, you still love him, and like you're still rooting for him. So yeah, I really love that. Speaking of characters in books, whatever, I still have a crush on Wynn Delaney from One Calls the Heart. Do you guys have literary crushes, or is that just a thing that I do? Because I would totally leave my husband for Wynn Delaney. I'm just kidding. He's not real. I wouldn't do it anyway. But yeah. All right.
I'm in love with the Phantom.
Oh, the opera?
Yeah.
Aww.
I'm so upset that he didn't get the girl. I've never gotten over it.
What?
Spoiler!
Spoiler alert,
Tina! Can I kick her off the broadcast? How do I do that? How do I kick her off? Seriously, Tina.
Oh, come on. You guys have all seen it.
We are sorry for anybody who did not know that.
I did not know that.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Isn't the Phantom of the Opera supposed to be a sort of retelling of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, or am I totally off base about that? I mean, not like a line for line, but like a parallel sort of a storyline.
Not that I know of.
Well, it's a similar trope, if that's what you're talking about. Like it's a similar trope where there is because the Hunchback did not end up with her either.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I think I kind of suspected because to me they are the same thing, even though I never saw Phantom.
You've never seen the Phantom of the Opera?
Hunchback of Notre Dame. No,
oh
Tina.
My gosh!
Apparently, Riley hasn't either.
I want to see it. Yeah, I want to see. Oh no.
Like you guys haven't even lived.
I want to see it in a. It's just like a movie of it. So like I just am waiting around for it to be. My husband wanted to take me to Toronto. That did not work out, that they were having one while we were.
Well, can I just tell you
that we knew of?
No, you can't tell us anything, Tina. I'm worried about what you're going to say.
On my first anniversary, my anniversary happened to fall on my grandmother's birthday. And my grandmother was turning 90, and she lived in Staten Island, New York. So we went to New York for my grandmother's birthday. And for my first anniversary, my husband took me to see the Phantom of the Opera at the Majestic Theater on Broadway. And we were in third row center seats, right below the chandelier. Nice. But since you haven't seen it, you don't know the significance of being right below the chandelier.
Oh, why don't you just tell us?
Well, I just want to say that because this was an anniversary story involving Tina's husband and a crush on, the Phantom, I was worried about the content of Tina's story. So I'm really glad that it took the turn that it did. I was just waiting to push the censor button, and I'm glad that we didn't.
Does Tina still have her nickname TMI Tina?
You guys are so mean to me. Don't worry, I'm getting you all back in November.
Oh, no. Why are you going to spoil some other Broadway musical I haven't seen yet? Just so you know, I haven't seen Hamilton. So if you want to spoil that, go right,
You get shot, Jen.
No.
I haven't seen that one. I saw Annie on Broadway, and I saw the Pirates of Penzance on Broadway.
So when Ben and Amy take a bullet in Tina's novel, we'll know that it's really cleverly disguised me and Jen. Awesome. Ben was always picking on Lucy.
Yeah. Ben Jen, you mean?
Yeah, Ben Jen.
I've been having a hard time figuring out what I was going to name the antagonist, the female antagonist in my novel, but I'm pretty sure now it's Christina.
I don't say stuff when I'm drinking.
What? What? What are you drinking,
When
Tina?
she's drinking liquid, she's saying she's going to spit it on her computer if you're making her laugh.
Peach tea.
Goodness.
I was so like, what?
I was taking a drink and you made me laugh and I almost killed myself.
Speaking of drinking, let's talk about like nano snacks. Like, isn't that an important part of NaNoWriMo? Someone's crinkling a bag. Is that you, John Rhonda?
I was sliding my espresso beans over to me closer.
Okay. Describe espresso beans for everyone.
Sure. Espresso beans are little espresso coffee beans that are coated in dark chocolate, and they are straight from heaven.
I love that crunch.
Yeah. Do they help to keep you awake?
Oh, yes.
Glued to the keyboard?
Rate, I will not be asleep till Friday, probably.
So what is that like a typical NaNoWriMo snack for you? Do you have other, must-haves when you're nanoing?
Only when I'm trying to stay awake to write at midnight.
Do you have non-food must-haves?
Well, I've got my nano bullet journal, and I've got my regular bullet journal, and then of course all my pens and everything that I keep with it. So yeah, just that and my Diet Pepsi, espresso beans and Diet Pepsi. Although tonight I have a Tootsie Roll. I gave myself a Tootsie Roll. I'm trying to low carb it, but these have no carbohydrates.
How's that possible?
Because it's Halloween. And everything's
it's magic carbohydrate.
Kind of like the desserts at the church buffet. What do you call it?
Yeah.
On the buffet.
Potluck.
The potluck.
I just think it's so funny how Jen is like, oh, come on. Like, she's such a little sister. It's not even funny.
I am a little sister. I'm the baby of the family.
Oh my goodness. What about you, Jen? Speaking of Diet Pepsi.
I have a whole plethora of snacks over here to help me make it through. First of all, I've been waiting this whole podcast to show this so I could crack it open and pour it. I am totally I as well am low carbing it as well. In the past, my go-tos were Cherry Pepsi and Snickers or Twix. But now this is my thing right here. Coke Zero, cherry Coke Zero, super yum. I'm gonna bust that open. But since I'm low carbing it, these things are the bomb. I get them at Meijer. So they're a chili lime almond, which they're kind of an odd taste, but when you want chips but can't have them, it really does a good job. I also like plain almonds. And then, like I said before, I was always had a chocolate candy bar every day during Nano. I probably put on like 50 pounds every November. But these sugar-free, which before you complain, look it down here. It says it's made with stevia, which normally makes me sick, but I can eat these. So I've got like maybe one of these a day. So that's how I survive, because you got to have the food, and then coffee, of course, Starbucks. So either the cold brew. I have all kinds of props. Either cold brew or I do some like regular coffee. Oh, look at this over here. What is this little basket over here? Maybe I should go ahead and show this.
Yes, I think you should. And do you have any non-food necessities that you need for Nano, Jen?
Besides this, this seriously is my non-Nano necessity. The board with the Post-it notes and everything, and then Scrivener. I have to have Scrivener in order to do Nano, which is. If you don't have Scrivener, you can go ahead and use Word, because once you win Nano this year, you generally get a coupon for half off Scrivener, and it's cheap anyway. It's like $40, but then you get it for like $20. So
if you don't know what Scrivener is, it's basically a really helpful outlining tool to help you do your novel. We should do a whole episode about Scrivener, I think, maybe even two.
Yes.
So, Jen, why don't you wait to show us your thingamabob until we've all talked about our essentials? What do you have as an essential for Nano, Bambina?
I got my granola.
And Chattery grenade crumbs.
Did we inspire you with the grape nuts yesterday?
Oh, I like grape nuts, but this is what when I want something sweet and chocolatey, peanut butter and cocoa puffs from Aldi's. Like it's awful.
I love all these.
I got almonds. I usually have the chocolate one, the ones with the cocoa powder on them, but I don't have any of those right now. I'm not supposed to eat these, but I had one in the fridge, so. Oh, and I have some raisins. So, and my tea, I gotta have my iced tea. That's about it. My Scrivener. My Scrivener is and my laptop. That's what I need.
Now, also you were talking about a need for like uninterrupted time to write, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also, so you got to kind of get the family in on the whole idea that this is writing time or whatever.
So it's a good time to show my little thing I made?
Not yet.
Oh, all right.
Okay. And then I personally I'm very mercurial in my temperaments. And so I don't like to be pinned down to my likes or dislikes. But for this Nano, I just felt like I had to make brownies. So I made some Hershey's Best brownies from the recipe.
So glad you're in Florida.
Oh, they're really good. And they get crispy edges and mushy centers. Because I don't cook them all the way, right? And then I've got something to drink. This time it's iced tea. But I've really been very fond of like mildly concentrated lemonade. Like you make it a lot weaker than it's supposed to be. It's been going down really easy lately. And then I've got usually something caffeinated. I have my awesome little cup. So when I have coffee, I'll be drinking it out of that. And this year, for the first time, I know you guys will be shocked, I discovered peanuts with candy corn. Someone was talking about it. So I gave it a try. This is a peanut butter cookie. I'll tell you, it's so tasty. And this time of year, candy corn is everywhere. And Rhonda said, what did you say? It's like
there's no other purpose for candy corn unless you mix it with peanuts.
It is very tasty, y'all, I have to say. So I would say snacks are super important, but what's also important is to know what you're going to feed your family if that's your responsibility in the house, and have some meals planned, maybe something put in the freezer, and a pair of headphones, especially if you're going to write-ins. So you don't have to hear the chitter chatter of everybody around you. You can plug into some music that you've already trained yourself to write to and get to work. So now, ladies, if you want to reveal the big shebang.
So we decided that we wanted to give some lucky listener a Nano survival kit. And we're all going to add something to this kit, a few things to this kit that we have to survive Nano. So I will start because I have a bunch of stuff here. Some of it represents all of us, but I said earlier coffee, and Starbucks is my fave. So we have a package of Starbucks coffee house blend for you for one lucky winner. Post-its, because me and Post-its, got to have the Post-its to survive.
Name brand Post-its that won't fall off your board.
Yes. You see these ones over here falling off? Those are not name brand. Those are from Dollar General. The ones that are solid, those are the good ones. I also picked up a timer because I mentioned earlier that Pomodoro timing yourself for writing is essential to make it through Nano. So there's a timer for you. Jamie had mentioned headphones. So look at these awesome earbud headphone things that we found for you.
Gotta have them.
Gotta have them. And then each of us ladies shared their favorite candy bar. A Snickers from Jamie. A Take 5 from Tina. Nope, sorry. A Snickers from Rhonda. A Take 5 from Tina. A Payday from Jamie. And a Twix from me. Adding to this pile, who wants to go next?
Well, make it snappy. It's 11:59.
Okay, go ahead, Tina.
I made this great sign that you can either hang on your door or set it on your desk. And it says, writing in progress, do not disturb unless someone is bleeding, the house is on fire, or Jesus comes back. And it has our little logo down here at the bottom.
That's awesome.
Okay, I have sheets for your bujo for different uses for your organizing your writing for Nano. I've got stickers. I rated my vintage stickers too for this, and then also no bleed pens.
Oh, those are the best. Those Sharpies are the bomb.
I love them.
All right, so it's almost time to write. So should we talk about how we're doing the giveaway after we're done writing?
Yes, let's do that.
All right, I'm going to turn off my camera. Well, maybe not. I got to figure out how I'm going to write, and my camera's going to be going all over everywhere. All right, you guys keep going and talking. It's midnight. Ah!
Yay, it's NaNoWriMo! Yay! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start off with a writing sprint to kick off this 2018 NaNoWriMo. So, as we always do at the Christian Indie Writers podcast, we're going to do a 25-minute timed writing sprint. So, we'd love for you to stay with us and join and get your words in, get a few words in. How great will it be to wake up tomorrow morning and have some words already started for your nano project?
Yes.
All right. Everybody ready?
I'm already writing. What are you talking about?
Pull up Microsoft Word, pull up Scrivener, pull out a piece of paper and pen, and just get ready. Here we go. Whatever you do, don't stop. Just write until the timer goes off. Done. All
Okay,
right.
everybody, put in the comment box. How many words did you get in your word sprint? How are you starting Nano this year?
Let's see. Nice. All right, I put mine in.
Oh, someone wants to type it in for me. See, I had it open in the beginning. That's why it was so weird for me in the beginning. It started talking to me again, and I had a weird echo. And so when everybody was doing the introductions, I was hearing it all in this weird delay. It was really weird.
Oh,
how'd you other girls do?
I had a slow start. I only had about 400.
That's good.
Yay!
That's really good.
How did you do, Jen?
707.
Wow, that's great. Bambina, how'd you do?
722.
Yay!
Jamie,
Well, I
what
have
did
to
you
say, I got 812, but there's a few that are not staying. So
Yeah,
I kind of break the inner editor rule a little bit, and I take the stuff I don't like and I move it to the bottom of my document, and I change the font color so that I still know how many words I wrote, but I don't erase.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
That's a really good idea.
Right, or you could do strike through. Like that's another trick. You can
So
just
my
strike through words you don't like.
My first year with Nano, I did strike through, and then when I went to verify my numbers at the end, it came out way less than what I had in Microsoft Word.
Oh no!
So I'm wondering if when they verify, if they don't count strike through. I'm not sure. I don't know for sure, but just putting that out there as a warning.
Well, I know they count different color font words because that's what I did last year.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm gonna do that this year.
Well, everybody, great job. And guess what? Subscribers to our Patreon are going to get to hear what we all just wrote in the word sprint. I can't even believe it.
Since we are doing all of our podcasts this month live, that means our postcast will be happening right after we record this. But it'll be private. And if you want to be able to hear what we're doing, because we're doing it live like this, we've decided that we're going to share something raw every postcast this month. And it will be something from our Nano project to help keep us on track as well and accountable. So if you want to hear what we wrote to this time, go and subscribe to our Patreon page for as little as $2 a month. You can join all the hijinks over there as well.
All right. And just before we did this, Rhonda was showing us her awesome vintage stickers that she was contributing to the Great Grand Prize.
Oh.
Yeah, there's some cute ones in there.
Okay. So I was a sticker collector as a child. Did I turn my mic on? Okay.
No, you're on.
So these are just some of my old ones.
Oh my gosh.
But they're still totally sticky.
That's awesome.
And it can be like, instead of a star, like a gold star, I use these little tiny ones. They're a little different. And then in Jamie's honor.
Little aliens.
And then just some regular ones that are good for a bujo.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And those awesome pens.
Oh yeah, I love those pens so much.
So how are we giving away our grand prize? Are we saving it for a different occasion? Are we giving it away tonight? What's the deal?
I say, because it's so late, what if we give it away to, we want someone who's viewed this, but we'll give 24 hours for anyone that views it if they send us an email and tell us about their Nano project.
Ooh.
And then we'll do a drawing. How's that sound,
sounds
ladies?
really fun. And then we'll reveal it on Thursday when we do the podcast.
Yep, next Thursday. That would be great.
So everybody has until Thursday. What is the date? The 8th.
Yep. No, until Wednesday. Let's do it till Wednesday so that we can reveal it on Thursday. So you have to, by the 7th, you have to email us at connect@christianindiewriters.net. I will put that in here. All right, ladies.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on our first ever live podcast. Join us next Thursday for another live one where we will be discussing, who knows, we're going to be discussing Nano stuff and keeping updated on our projects.
All right. See everybody next time, or we'll see you on the postcast. If you're a Patreon subscriber, go sign up.
Exactly.
See you
So
soon.
this concludes the Christian Indie Writers podcast. So until next week, may your pen be prolific, may your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ.
Bye now.
Bye.